Welcome into the Sports Renegades here on SportsTownChicago.com. I'm Ryan Stuprich.
And I'm Ryan Risky. And right before the show began, the Cubs made a big comeback against the Arizona Diamondbacks. They were down 6-1, and then Wilson Contreras happened. And now they're up 7-6 in the top of the eighth inning.
Unbelievable, this guy. He really, obviously when he came right up, he came up with a splash in his first at-bat with the Cubs. He hit a home run on the first pitch he ever saw in the majors, which was pretty impressive. And 2 home runs today and a nice RBI single.
2-run single to take the lead.
Right.
3 for 4, 2 homers, 6 RBIs.
Yeah, he's doing just as good as Paul Goldschmidt has done today, and he's driven in more runs now than Goldschmidt.
He's one up Goldschmidt. He's 2 for 3 with 2 homers and 5 RBIs.
So it's pretty impressive because, of course, Paul Goldschmidt hit, a 3-run homer and then a 2-run homer.
Yes, however, they are in trouble right now. Justin Wilson came in. Actually, Carl Edwards Jr. came in, walked Goldschmidt, then walked J.D. Martinez. Then Justin Wilson came in, gave up a single to Brandon Drury. Now the bases are loaded with no outs and Jake Lamb at the plate.
Uh-oh. Well, that's not good. But, it's pretty amazing, the fight that the Cubs have had in this second half especially to come back from those big deficits. They were down 6-1, as we said. So,
yeah, it didn't happen yesterday.
No, it didn't. Again, you were at a game and they got shut out.
Yes. And
pretty bad.
And just in case you were wondering, I have kind of lost my voice. It has nothing to do with all the yelling from yesterday.
Okay.
What little yelling there was.
Yeah, I feel you, man. It's tough.
I mean, I'll tell you what, though. The one takeaway, and I consider this a massive takeaway from that game yesterday, was Jake Arrieta's performance on the mound.
Absolutely, absolutely.
And as I said a couple shows back, the biggest X factor in the second half for the Cubs is Arrieta. If he starts pitching good or started pitching average, this ball club is completely different. It's a whole new team, and since the All-Star break, he's been phenomenal. I mean, his stuff looked about as good as it has been in a long time last night. He was really good. And, I mean, literally, if you're going just from the Arrieta that was struggling all in the first half, at times had an ERA getting close to 5, around 4.50, and you have a guy now that's going to give you 6-7 innings, give up less than 2 runs. That's huge.
Yeah.
And that makes, when you're aligning your playoff rotation, whether he faces a Scherzer or a Strasburg or a Yu Darvish or an Alex Wood in a game 2 or 3 of a series, you feel much better.
Yeah,
when he's pitching like that.
Yeah, just to talk about what happened yesterday, it's just too bad that they couldn't get any hitting going. But Zach Godley was, he was
a goodie,
a really good performance.
Former Cub, they traded. He was a 10th round pick in 2013.
Right,
they traded him to the Diamondbacks in the Miguel Montero trade.
I'm sure that wasn't fun to watch for Theo yesterday.
No, well. Without that trade, they might not win the World Series. Montero had the game-winning RBI in Game 7, and then don't forget that grand slam against the Dodgers.
Yeah, that was huge on an 0-2 pitch.
On an 0-2 pitch, and another big thing that happened in the postseason regarding him was Game 4 against the Giants. He came up to pinch hit against a right-handed pitcher in the 9th inning when the Cubs were down 5-3.
Mm-hmm.
Bruce Bochy brings in a lefty. Madden pinch hits Contreras instead.
Yeah.
2-run single, tie game. They end up winning.
Exactly. So there was, obviously he had a lot of big moments.
And he was good. He was good pinch hitting.
Yeah. Of course, everyone was doing pretty good in 2016. We kind of see the comparison. Yeah, obviously the Cubs are still a really good team right now, but we see in 2016 everything went right. And right now, we're starting to get back into the swing of things a little bit. And, a player like Montero, he was pretty good last year. he probably exceeded expectations, but
in the playoffs, I mean,
Yeah.
it's .215 batting average in the regular
that wasn't
season.
good. But again, it didn't really matter because the Cubs were on a roll all year, and
also you had Contreras and David Ross swinging the bat pretty well all season.
yeah, David Ross had a really good year in his last year, and so I mean, yeah, I think it was the right trade to make, but yeah, I mean, Zach Godley, he's had a bad start here, a good start here. But overall, that Diamondbacks pitching staff is impressive, especially when they get Robbie Ray back.
Right, and throw in this is
good.
a staff that's also playing without Shelby Miller, who was pitching very well before he went down with an elbow injury.
Yeah, the Diamondbacks have had some injuries with their pitchers. Taijuan Walker was out for about a month and a half. I think he was on my fantasy team. He still is. But, yeah, they've had some injuries. They've been able to overcome it. I think right now, if you look at the Diamondbacks and the Rockies, I'd say the Diamondbacks are the stronger team.
Right, and that's the likely wild card matchup. And obviously that wild card game comes down to who has the best ace, and that that the Diamondbacks, if they can, will try to align it so Zach Greinke will be pitching in that game.
Right. And even if he doesn't, I mean, you feel pretty good with your chances with either Taijuan Walker or even Robbie Ray.
Right. And I was listening to this. When I was in Milwaukee last week, and when we were on our way. I think it was the Sunday game, the third game of the series, and the show on the score. They had Bob Brenly call in,
right?
Because they have him. I guess they have him call in the week that they a couple days before they play the Diamondbacks every year, and. He said, the Diamondbacks, they're a very good team. He wasn't sure if they would do much of the deadline after adding J.D. Martinez, and he said that a lot of people have been getting on them about their bullpen woes, except he said that's a little overstated because despite Fernando Rodney's ERA that going into before yesterday's save was over 5.
Right.
He said that's inflated by, by the blown saves he's had, the few that he's had, he said, and in those games, it wasn't like he was blowing the game, allowing 2 or 3 runs. He was getting lit up for like 6 or 7.
Yeah, and it was interesting when I was watching.
And he's been much better as of late. I mean, last night in the 9th inning, his stuff was like unhittable.
Right. I was thinking yesterday, when we looked at the numbers, I was like, oh, he has an ERA over 5. He's blown 5 saves. It would be nice if the Cubs were only down by like a run.
Right, because in that inning you had Bryant, Rizzo, and Schwarber up.
So just one swing could have tied the game, but instead it was 3 a little harder, and then Fernando Rodney was doing really well. So.
Right, and I was thinking, it might not be the worst thing they're down by 3, because when he blows the save, he's absolutely terrible.
Yeah.
And he was very good last night.
Yeah, he was, but I'm glad that you saw 2 wins in Milwaukee. That was good, and that was important too for them to take 2 out of 3 in Milwaukee.
Right, they should have swept. I mean, I'll take the 2 of 3 though.
Yeah, I mean it was a tough loss on that first night for sure, but they win the next 2 thanks to Jason Hayward, really, and especially in that second game there with that home run in the
10th inning.
So that was pretty impressive, and it's just the Cubs are starting to roll along here, and it's looking pretty good. We're going to take a break right now. We're going to come back, and we're going to talk more baseball. We'll tell you how the Cubs are doing right now. We'll get you an update on all that. We'll talk about the struggling Sox as they are in Boston for a 4-game series starting tonight. So we'll talk about all that coming up next. Sports Renegades, SportsCenterChicago.com.